Hey everyone, it's me again, Jaychirst, and welcome to another episode of the Design Live Show. I hope you're having a really great week so far. And for this week episode, I'm a solo right now, and I don't have any guests for this week episode and for the meantime. But I'm super excited to share this topic to all of you guys, especially for those who would like to really dive or go into a unconventional path like creative entrepreneurship. So I really want to give a lot of value through this podcast episode. So I hope you'll love this as much as I do. But before we jump into this week episode, I just want to let you know, guys, that the podcast is available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. It's also available on Spotify and SoundCloud. Or you can also play the podcast on Alexa. So playing podcasts on Alexa is easy. If you want to listen to a recent episode, just ask Alexa to play the podcast you want. You can play mostly podcasts using the built-in tune-in services. So yeah, and if you have any feedback about the podcast, if you find this valuable or if you find this really helpful with your creative path or with any of your passion that you are doing right now, please leave a review on Apple Podcasts. In that way, you are helping me to reach more people. Nevertheless, if you're listening to the podcast, that's more than enough, and thank you so much for that. So let's jump into this week episode and let's play the intro.
You're listening to the Design Life Show, a podcast that's helping everyone grow to live a meaningful and creative life. It's me, Jaychirst, a designer from the Philippines, best known for being an advocate of essentialism and optimism. I'm sitting down with awesome people to talk about their journey, their process, and the lessons they've learned along the way.
There you go, guys. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast, and I don't want to waste your time anymore, and let's dive into this week episode. So for this week episode, I'm going to share my biggest mistake as a creative entrepreneur. So for those who don't know creative entrepreneurship, keep your eyes peeled and ears peeled, because I will do a lot of episode about that here in the podcast, so stay tuned. I know for some of you, this is a fresh word, or you might not heard about it. I know you heard entrepreneurship, but creative entrepreneurship is a new term that I'm using, right? So it's just a new term, just to make it really cool. All right, no, just kidding. So let's jump into this week episode, and I wanna tell you some part about it as well. How I get here, how am I doing, right? So, and I wanna help as well for those creatives that are just getting started, and especially those aspiring entrepreneurs that want to be on this path as well, or be passionate about their journey. All right. So for the past 10 years of my business and professional career, I met a lot of people who is smarter than me. People who is more talented than me, but for some reasons, they are stuck in the job that they hate, or the worst is, just stop and do nothing about what they are passionate at. And I won't lie, believe me, it's inevitable, unless you're really committed to yourself, to fall in love for the things that you really love doing. I mean, you need to work for it, right? It's absurd for me that most people don't mind discovering their passion. For me, it's a tremendous gift. Knowing what you're good at and how you can use it to live and design your life is essentially a great feeling. With that being said, I think these things is really helpful if I share the biggest mistake that I did as a creative entrepreneur for the last 10 years, or I must say as a human being. So I believe that these things will be very useful for anyone who just getting started or want to pursue a unconventional path or journey as a creative. Please take this as a grain of salt. If you love this topic, you can get your paper and pencil and write it down if you find this useful as well. So Let me tell you some stories. I remember when I just getting started. There's always a time in our life that we need to say yes in any project that comes in. Whether you like it or not, it's part of the process. You have to take it even though you hate that job or how shitty it might be. Why? I need it to survive, or we need it to survive, right? Without knowing that we have to be thriving, not just surviving. It happens all the time without realizing that choices I had before. I'm just getting started, so what I'm doing, I don't know what I'm doing, right? So, and some part of what I'm doing right now, there's a lot of confusions as well because things are moving so fast, right? And what do I know back then, right? There was a time that I have to get up hard just to start a very little project. I need to earn as much as I can. By the way, it's a paid project, but it's so little that I can't even buy clothes or something new for me. So at that point, money is everything, which will lead us to my second point. As time goes by, I realize that I don't have to accept jobs that I hate or jobs that not met my principles and values. I have this ability to choose since then, but I tend to forget it by any means. It's crazy, right? It was frustrating at that point of time. I'm in a scarcity mindset, which is not really good. I even let down the people around me and even myself. As time goes by, I realize that I need to change that position where I'm at. So I think some solution and find this really helpful and really efficient. I have to think and set my mind to position myself where I am in full control, or not at least 50% of the time. We know that it's all about the client or those people we serve, right? But at least be professional in any manners, alright? With all that being said, what I did is to showcase what I love doing, works that I find exciting and brings me goosebumps while doing it. So think about something that you are playing when you're a child and you're super excited about it, right? So when you are playing ball with your friend, right? It's super exciting when we are just a kid. So it doesn't matter what is it, as long as you are excited about it, alright? Part of those things I really want to do is not just visual design, but also writing. I fall in love doing it. I'm obsessed about it. The enjoyment and the ability to bring impact to any people that I help through creating this kind of content is unimaginable beautiful. Believe me, it's very, very rewarding and fulfilling if we just focus on these essential things. But I'm not saying that you should jump into the wilderness without any safety net. I know some are not really meant for this kind of, thing or challenges. Some are not really disciplined enough to do these things, right? I'm big with practicality as well. What I'm saying is you should create your own path. No bullshit, no excuses, no overthinking, which I always do before I get this kind of freedom. So what are the freedom that I'm saying? Freedom to be vulnerable and not giving any shit to those voices who are saying I can't do it. Freedom to have more time with the things I love doing. Freedom to have more guts to say what I want to say. Freedom to have more time to follow my passion. Alright? I know there are people that, what the hell is passion? I don't need it. I need more money. I need to live my means. I need, there's a lot of needs. Without knowing that, those things is just some wants, right? Right now, I know I have a lot of things going on my plate right now. Because I'm building my agency. I have clients right now that I'm serving. And I have a mentorship program for those creatives, aspiring creatives, really passionate and driven and committed, who really walk the talk that I'm mentoring behind the curtain. But it's the reason why I'm in love with the process. It's the reason because things are evolving every minute of our time. And I'm here to sail, not to be drowned. I respect the learnings throughout this process and I hope you too, right? So before I end this episode, here's what I want to say for you. When you take a meaningful path, the benefits are plentiful. Just think about it for a moment. When you take a meaningful path, the benefits are plentiful. Meaning, more opportunities were going to open for you. More opportunities that you can unveil. More opportunities that you can create. Because, as you might know, like what Steve Jobs said, creativity is connecting dots. And you can do that as well with your creative entrepreneurship journey. Alright? I hope you enjoy and find this valuable, and think about that for a moment and reflect it. And if you have your journal or your pencil, write it down. I am super encouraging you to write it down and read it and have your own interpretation for that, because I know that these things are not for everyone. It's for those people who are really disciplined, committed, want to walk the talk, not just talking and do nothing about those shits, right? And yeah, it's not for everybody, but I want to encourage you guys to think about it and absorb it with all your heart, not just because I'm talking with you, not just because I'm inside your head, right? So you can share your experiences as well. So that's it. Speaking of experiences, if you love these podcasts and if you love these episodes that I'm doing, these crazy missions that I'm doing, I want to know your feedback. And if you have any time, just go to Apple Podcasts and leave an honest and short review. In that way, you are helping me to reach more people. And don't forget to follow the podcast in any of your favorite podcast app. All right? So and for those who are just getting started in this podcast, you can check all the episode by visiting thedesignlifeshow.com. So that's it. Thank you so much, guys, and I hope you enjoy this episode and you find it very intentional and powerful, and especially empowering to your soul. All right? So if you want to hit me up with your questions, you can do so by following me on any of your social media app right there. I'm available on, I always respond on Messenger, Instagram, Twitter, right? So at jaychirst.com, just let me know, just hit me up with your DMs or direct message, and I respond to all the message that you send to me. All right? So talk to you soon, guys, and have a great week. And that's it. Thank you so much for listening to the Design Life Show. I hope you guys enjoy this episode. If you want to support the show, you can do so on Patreon. Head over to patreon.com/TDLS or go to thedesignlifeshow.com, and you can find the donate button on the top to learn more on how you can support the show. And for some cool extra stuff, you can get an access to my private contents like AMAs, where I take questions exclusively from Patreon subscribers, or check out other stuff I made where I talk about essentialism, design, creativity, and business. I give a lot of value into this podcast that can't be seen anywhere else online. Again, that's patreon.com/TDLS. Thanks for listening to the show, and talk to you guys again next week.